Hey, did that change it? I think you can hear me now.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
look at that.
Can you hear me too?
Can you
Oh my
guys
God,
believe
it's
it?
so
I
loud
do a
now.
tech show on this channel. Can you believe that?
Wow. Surely not, right?
Yeah.
Surely you have to be a perfect technician in order to run a tech show. Come
No,
on.
you know what it was is I played a community night on a Twitch Kitten members
Mm.
channel, and they required push to talk, and I forgot that until just about 3 seconds ago. So now
Mm.
you can hear
Hang
me.
on. I have something that is super massive that I just want to share with everyone real fast. Okay, are you ready? This is why I freaked out whenever we were muted.
Ready?
We hit our partnership numbers!
What?
Yo, we can
Hey,
apply! We can apply! What's up?
hype.
What's up? What's up? We can apply to be a Twitch partner. Okay, I'm done.
Awesome.
We did
Congratulations.
it! We did it! Sorry, this is a big moment. I'm gonna freak out for a second. Yay!
Please freak out.
We
Throw
did
things
it!
around the room.
We did it, Yam Fam! Ah! Yes! Let me get that Yam Fam spam up in this chat right freaking now. That is something that we have been flirting with literally for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks now. So I am so
That's
we
fantastic.
did it!
That's 75 over 30, right? That's the
Yeah!
requirement. That's so sweet. Congratulations.
Yes,
And
thank you.
congrats
Okay,
to all
sorry.
of the community that has supported you to get you there. That's so awesome.
I know. It's all of them, honestly, all of them. I'm like, that's crazy that I found out on your show. This is freaking crazy. This is crazy. Yay!
It would have been even
Wow!
funnier if you found out and did the reaction while you were muted.
Oh my god.
Everyone's just looking like, what is happening?
I actually did. When I was muted, I was like, the chat was like, what's happening? What's happening?
Awesome.
Asking, why is she freaking out? Oh my god.
So, congrats again. That eliminates one of my questions, at least today on my notepad.
Oh, cool. Well, you can still ask it, and I can say it while we're. Wait, are you recording right now?
No.
Is
It's just
this
going
like
to be on
part
the
of
bottom.
the episode? Oh, okay, dope. Okay.
So, we usually start the show like this. Actually, let me just go back because I got all distracted from the tech show, the tech issues. This is a show we do every week. Has various different guests on the show. The guests are changing a little bit, which is why I'm super excited that you are on the show tonight, because I'm trying to do so the Twitch universe kind of exists not just as streamers. There's a lot of external influences and obviously external companies and health issues and all this kind of thing. So the guests on the show are kind of running the gamut this season. So you are bringing in the stream coaching part of it, which I'm super excited to talk to you about. But there's all different types of stuff we try and do on the show. And in the past, we've had different partnered guests, which is even more funny that you're now able to be partnered on the show.
We did it.
But so we have this kind of very loose action item list that we talk about. I have a bunch of notes. I have papers and everything that we go through. But we always just kind of meander through conversation and see where it goes. So there's nothing like rigid about it. The only thing I want to mention for anyone that is new, which is probably most of you, there's a lot of sound alerts on my channel. They're all turned off when the guest is on because I don't like interrupting the guest flow. And any alerts and stuff, I get to those in the post show. I don't call out anything while we're talking.
Perfection.
That's pretty much it. The very first question I have, when I was watching you earlier, you were drinking out of some cup. What were you drinking? We always do a what's on tap to start the show.
Oh, was it my blue coffee mug?
No, I thought it was like
Pretty.
it looked like a big gulp or something like that.
Oh, it might be. Okay, so I have 2 cups with me. All right, I have my largest coffee cup that I have because I was like, I have to be on someone else's show later today, and then also
geez.
I'm interviewing someone today, so I'm gonna get the big guy out.
Jeez.
So I had coffee in here, and then the other cup that I had is a cup from a barbecue place that's in Austin, Texas, which is where I'm from, that I'm absolutely freaking obsessed with. But that was just water.
Oh,
That was
okay. Excellent.
Girl, you gotta chill, right? Stay hydrated.
It's
Stay
important.
hydrated.
It's important. That's why everyone has hydration bots or whatever in their channel.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome that you're in Austin. I was just there in January, actually.
Oh, cool.
both visiting friends, and I work a little bit in climate research. So I was there presenting a paper at AMS 2018.
What?
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. It was my
That is
first time
so
there, and
cool.
the food was delicious. That's all I could say about that. Also,
Dude, that is
the tiny bars and stuff that were like tents, but also there was a food truck. I didn't really get it, but it seemed cool.
it's so great. Like Austin is definitely the Portland of the South is what I like to kind of refer to it as, because Portland's like the culture there, right? They're all about the food truck culture. It's also they have the same slogan that Austin has, which is like keep Portland weird, keep Austin weird.
Yeah,
Um, so it's a very similar culture, and I really love it. I love food truck food is so freaking good
it
and
was
so good.
unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
Right? And Austin's really good at like fusion. So we have a lot of restaurants that aren't purely just catered to like one culture. It's fusion food, right? It's like Vietnamese mixed with literally 10, like we have so many Vietnamese Mexican places which you wouldn't imagine, but yeah,
Really?
there's like
Wow.
yeah, like tacos that are Vietnamese tacos. It's so cool.
Oh,
It's so
sweet.
cool.
That
Yeah,
was
food
actually when I
is
was there. Was the
amazing.
first time I had ramen. I'd never had ramen before until I was there. I
Where did you go for ramen?
Oh God.
Was it ramen Tatsuya?
Yes, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
two places that were suggested to me. That was the second. So the friends that I was visiting there, one of them is sort of a general manager of several restaurants in the Austin area, and that was his place that he had to take me to.
Dude, it is so. That's honestly, whenever people come to Austin, I'm like, we have to. Oh, you're vegetarian? Sorry. you have, you
Yes,
have to
I don't know,
have this.
eat lettuce.
It's so good. It's just
um,
amazing.
he also sent me to Easy Tiger, which is probably the best sandwich I've ever had in my life. So that
Yeah.
was very excellent.
Yeah, Easy Tiger is ridiculous. My boyfriend, we call him Yam Daddy. He he used to work actually at one of the parent, or I guess one of the like sister restaurants to Easy Tiger, and so we got like $100 gift card to Easy Tiger every single month for free, but we would only go once. So we would go once and we would order like $100 worth of beers and pretzels and just amazing like craft bar food. And their sandwiches are so good. They have these like boards that have 5 different things on them. So it's like 3 different kinds of cheese,
Oh,
like
awesome.
pastrami, like oh my god, it was so much fun. I miss those days. He doesn't work there anymore, and I'm kind of sad about it
God,
sometimes.
I ate
For that
dinner
soul
and now I'm
inside.
hungry listening to you talk about it.
Yeah, I hadn't eaten yet.
So okay, we covered the how the show works stuff. So we'll get to all that. The infrastructure stuff of shows and the post show. So I'm super interested in several questions about how you got started. Number one would be, how did you find out about Twitch? When was the first time you
Ooh.
kind of came in contact with Twitch?
Yeah, the origination story.
Right.
So I started, I found Twitch in 2012, and I found it through an ex-boyfriend who kind of introduced me to the world of like PC gaming, because that prior to 2012 was not a massive experience in my life as a gamer. Like I've played literally every single console forever and ever and ever, and stayed up until like 4 a.m. on school nights when I had to be up at 6 a.m. the next day, and I've lived that life. But he kind of introduced me to Twitch and to hardcore PC gaming, and I say that because I played like Diablo 2, original Diablo. I played like a couple other PC games. Of course, our OG Oregon Trail, right?
Oh my God, I
Naturally.
love that game.
So good. So good. But he introduced me to it back in 2012. And when I first found it, I was like, this is weird. Why are people
Watching other
people play video games?
Yeah.
Yeah, it made literally no sense to me.
Right.
And so at first I was like, I can't do this. This is so weird. Why is this a thing? And then after a while, I was like, I don't know why I'm thinking this is weird, because this is actually awesome.
Right.
So I just saw, I guess, the community aspect of it. I saw the potential of it. I saw how people were, the first time ever in my entire life, I think, that I'd seen gaming presented in a way that was like, this is what the cool kids are doing, almost. Like people are sitting here and their full-time job is playing video games, and to me that blew my freaking mind. Like
Yeah.
I never would have expected that. So I found it, and in 2013 I started streaming. It was like late 2013, and I was terrible at it. It was awful.
Right.
I was not a natural, even though I was in like I was in speech and debate classes. I was in acting. I was doing all sorts of stuff that you think would make me someone who is very natural on camera and comfortable, and is someone who could be like charismatic and all
Sure.
of those things that you need to be an entertainer, right? And I just never really became. I guess I became comfortable with it later on, but in the very beginning, I was not. It took me 4 months to talk to my chat. I used to have somebody that was in my chat or in Skype with me that would say hi to the people that would come into my channel, because I couldn't do it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I thought like talking to a camera and talking to just usernames in a chat was so awkward.
Right. Huh.
So yeah, now we're good.
So have you been streaming kind of so that was 2013 when you started streaming. Then you've been streaming kind of consistent for 5 years, or breaks in between? Everyone seems to take breaks here and there.
I'll tell you my story. Okay,
Yeah.
let me tell you my story. So this is kind of like the narrative of who I am and this entire journey for me. So I started in 2013. It took a while for me to feel a little bit comfortable with it. And I was mostly consistent up until 2015, which is when I went full time, because I had a group of people. Like there were a few of them, but there was one person that was like heavily financially invested in my stream, and they made me a full-time streamer, right? Like they just went above and beyond. And this is before the affiliate program. So like I had no subs. I had nothing except for tips through PayPal, and Streamlabs at that time was still like the main thing everyone was running. So that person really supported me and got me to the point where I was full time, and it was like living the dream. Like I loved it, but I still had this inner voice that was telling me, hey, something's off, something's missing. Like it didn't really feel completely right for some reason. And at one point, like 6 months into me doing that full time, and this is after me moving to a different city, buying a bunch of equipment to like upgrade the stream, as a lot of people think that they need to do, and just investing into all of these other things that I thought that I needed. This person called me on Skype and they said, there will be a lot of people who make it on Twitch, but it will never be you. And that was
okay.
right. And that person said that to me because they hadn't really seen a huge like growth of my channel. I guess that they were expecting. This is totally assumptive. I don't know if this is 100% the reason. There are probably other reasons that tie along with this, but I had that feeling like in my heart, right? I was like, I know something's not right. I know that something's kind of off. Why is it that even though I have someone who's like getting me a decent amount of attention, because I'm getting like thousands and thousands of dollar tips all the time, but still like I'm streaming to 15 people, and I'm streaming to 15 people for 3 years. I was like heavily focused on the numbers at that time, which is something that we shouldn't do.
Right.
And it felt wrong. And when they told me that, I fell into this depression, and I was like, this totally sucks. I had this dream and now it's smashed, and that's freaking terrible. So I was just on the couch, right, for a few months. Eventually I was like, I feel gross, I'm gonna go to the gym. And then I found podcasts, and I found business and marketing podcasts. I found all of the books that go along with that kind of area of life. I started researching as much as I possibly could, and I just got obsessed with it. Like I didn't really spend a ton of time and focus and energy and on education in the past. I never really had whenever it came to streaming. And now that I've been exposed to it, and not just exposed to this education through like larger streamers, right? But I'm being exposed to this information from people that are building like multi-million-dollar businesses, people that are extremely established, right? And I'm learning all of these things that literally no one on Twitch was talking about. And so at that point, it was like, you know what? In a weird way, I'm kind of grateful for that experience, because that kind of gave me the passion and the drive now to be in this position where I'm like, I know what it's like to stream and to feel like something's off, right? To feel like something's wrong, and to feel like so desperate, like you want this so bad, and you want to go after this dream, and you see this perfect life for yourself, but for some reason it always feels like it's out of your grasp. And after I kind of made that realization, I was like, okay, this person is right. A lot of people are going to make it, and I'm going to help them. Like, I'm going to help them learn the things that they need to know in order to go after the lifestyle of their dreams and to go after the thing that they want to do on Twitch, which for most people is building like a loving, supportive community that you love and that loves you in return, and just like an
Right.
amazing, positive space, right? So yeah, that's basically what I do now. So now I have the podcast. I've got a YouTube. I
Yeah.
stream live 3 days a week. And I think before this recording, we hit our partnership levels in like
It's so crazy that it happened
a
just
little
now. It's so
over 2
awesome.
months. So I took a year and a half off, right? Whenever
Right.
that told me I'm not going to do anything with this, I took a bunch of time off. I never really fully came back to streaming, even though from time to time I would stream little interviews, or I did like some crafts here and there, but I never really took it very seriously until recently again. So I'm a big believer that like the different styles of content, different places that I've started to get involved have taught me so much, and just learning from all of those podcasts and those books, because I wasn't focused on anything else other than learning for the longest time. I didn't watch TV shows. I didn't read like books that I normally would have read 3 or 4 years ago. I didn't focus on anything. All of my free time was spent on me learning as much as I possibly could about how to grow communities, how to be a content creator, and all of that. And so now that's what I do. And I'm just kind of like trying to help as many people as I possibly can, regardless of, I said in the beginning when I first started streaming again a couple months ago, I was like, regardless of how many people watch, like, I just want to help. I don't care if I'm able to do this, because I had a lot of fear. Coming back to Twitch was something that gave me a lot of anxiety, but eventually I reached that decision of like, I need to just do this. I need to just do it because I know it's going to be helpful for people.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's so awesome.
That's a lot of info. So I just got on like soapbox about that, but
no, that's actually perfect for the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is kind of the main crux of why I've been dying to talk to you is the stream coaching aspect of it. First question going into that is, I saw you stream 3 days a week. Are they all interview style stream coaching? I swear I jumped in your channel the other day, and I didn't know the context of it, but it looked like you were sort of doing a stream review type session live. Is that a once a week thing? Is that something you do every day, or how does that work?
Yeah, so I'm very like tuned into my value and what I want to give to the Twitch community and to the streaming community in general, honestly, because I've been very cognizant lately of how I'm kind of excluding Mixer and maybe YouTube gaming from that advice lately as well. So like, I don't just want to help Twitch. I want to help every single streamer, as many as I can. So I'm very tuned into that mission because it's so emotional for me. There are a lot of people who like, they give amazing help, amazing advice, and there are so many people that are extremely helpful. But really, for me, it's such a huge mission for me, and I truly feel that I'm on like the path that I should be on. Like I'm pursuing my purpose in life right now. That's how serious I am about this. And because of that, because I feel so passionate and I feel like it's so fulfilling for me and it's what I'm meant to do, I want to make sure that the value that I'm always giving is helping other streamers and other content creators go after and build the things that they want to build. And so for me, that's what my entire stream, that's even down to my YouTube, down to my podcast, all of it is created with kind of that person who I used to be in mind, that creator who didn't really know like what value was, that creator who didn't know how to build a community, didn't know why I wasn't resonating with people, was stressed and burned out all the time, was inauthentic from time to time just to get specific results. Like I want to create for that person because I know what that struggle is like. I know how it feels to be in that position. And so now on the streams, what I do is I'll do channel reviews. Sometimes I'll do presentations, which it's literally like a PowerPoint presentation of specific topics.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to build at the same time for people many different spaces in their streaming journey. So there are people who are very new who they would benefit a lot from a profile review, right? Or maybe a VOD review. And then
Yeah.
there are people who are a little bit more advanced than that. And they're like, okay, well, Ashley, I get the profile section. I'm entertaining during the stream. However, I need like a deep dive, right? And that's where those presentations come through. And then we also do live recordings of the podcast where I interview Twitch partners and sometimes from time to time people who aren't partnered, depending on what value they can bring for people that aspire to be successful as a live streamer.
Yeah.
And then we also do, let's see, so we do the channel reviews, the VOD reviews. Sometimes we hang out and we chat a lot because I'm an IRL streamer, which might throw some people for a loop. I don't play video games on my channel as of right now. That might change in the future, but that's for a reason, right? And everything, even down to my schedule, is for a reason. I built my entire stream with the intention of serving streamers. So I don't stream on the weekends because I know that that's a time that a lot of streamers are going to be invested in streaming because mostly everybody has the weekends off. So that's a very popular time. Nights are a very popular time as well. And I'm in a position in my real life where I'm able to create like my work schedule too. So I was able to create my content schedule. So for me, I start at noon at Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Right.
And that makes it so that I'm able to really deliver to a lot of different time zones, but at the same time, different streamers as well, because there are people, we have a ton of people from EU, but a ton of people from NA as well. And I'm able to cater to like a lot of different people because of the schedule that we have. But yeah, it's all created with intention to serve, right? All of it, everything that I do, I always want that to be the number one thing that I'm thinking about is how can I serve people better? How can I help streamers more? How can I give more of who I am? How can I bring them like light and energy and motivation and acceptance of who they are as people? Because that acceptance of yourself, that confidence of yourself, the mindset that you have is such a huge part of content creation.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Right. And there's so much. We can go so deep into like the YouTube videos that you see about Twitch or about like Mixer on YouTube. They're always talking about like, how can you make your microphone sound better? How can you do this with tech? And yeah, tech is like a great part of it that we all need to know about. And we all need to make sure that we're looking to add quality in as much as we possibly can. But there's so much more beyond just the way that your stream looks or you showing up, playing a game and turning on the camera. Right. Like turning on the camera doesn't mean that you're entertaining.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. We've talked previously on this show about how, and this is sort of the spawn of this tech show that I do, which is the idea is that the tech part is kind of easy to solve. There's always a finite solution to something. There's always something concrete that you can do to fix something, even if it's buy something new. And that new streamers should, in the ideal world, not be worried about, necessarily the quality of things, but more figuring out who they are as a streamer and like kind of what their voice is, what type of host they want to be, what they want their channel to do. Those questions seem way more important than I need to get a new webcam today. Something like that is so easy to solve versus the other, which could take hours or weeks of, of watching your own video or some soul searching involved,
Right. Or years.
Right. Exactly.
It could totally take years too. I feel like a lot of people, and I talked about this during the interview earlier with Say No to Rage, is a lot of people seem to want like an easy button.
Yeah.
They want like, they think that if they're searching through YouTube, eventually they're going to find the video that's like, this is the one secret trick to how to grow your stream.
No one's tried this yet. Yeah.
Right? Like people will love you if you just do this one thing, but it's not that easy. There's no easy button. That doesn't exist. And the only way that you can grow is if you take the time and the energy and the effort to figure out what is valuable for people, what's unique about me, what's different that I could bring to the table, what are my opinions, who am I as a person? And sometimes that takes a while. And even then, even if you feel like you really know yourself, you're always changing. You're always adapting to your life and to the situations that are coming up for you. And you may not ever get to the point where you're like, I feel really, really confident right now in knowing myself and knowing exactly who I am. You know, that might not ever happen for some people, but I
That's
do
true.
think that if you try, right, you can get closer to that sense of self. And I think that sense of self really comes across in broadcasting when people are confident about who they are and they know their beliefs. Like that is something that people can sense, right? Like
Yeah, I 100%
viewers,
agree.
like people are not stupid, right? Viewers are not stupid, and content creators are not stupid when they're in the position of a viewer either. They know when you're being authentic, they know when you're lying, and
Right.
it's very, you think that you're getting away with it, but it's very easy to tell,
uh,
right? So I
so
definitely
yeah,
think like just being as close to yourself and getting to know yourself as much as you can is a huge part of this.
yeah, totally agree. The in terms of stream coaching in general, it seems like Twitch is keeps growing more and more and becoming more part of the mainstream culture. People watch Twitch instead of TV. I mean, that's just how it goes. They watch
Mm-hmm.
that for entertainment now. Um, I say that, wow, I'm really old is what I'm saying with that statement. But so how do you see stream coaching in terms of sort of like a micro industry inside of the Twitch universe, the stream coach layer on top of streamers, as this growing need and desire for streamers to get to where they want to go, not only to start out with, but maybe a consistent coaching basis for different streamers going up? Does it become on the level of something like what am I trying to say? Like an athlete's agent? Is that, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense? Something like that,
No, I
like
totally get.
something like
Yeah, I get what you're
a
saying.
coach, sort of as you're navigating along. Even once you hit partner, now you have a coach that can help put you into positions of. And this might be a manager, maybe I'm mixing up the terms, but it's like that can put you in a position to speak to the right partners or the right sponsors for you or the right commercial industries for you, something like that. Do you see that sort of on the incline now? Do you think it's just getting ramped up, like it's exponential growth at this point, or do you think it's still sort of treading water, people trying to figure it out as they go?
I mean, I think that it is it's not a new idea,
Yeah.
right? This is absolutely not a new idea. It's something that a lot of people have thought about for a long time. Like people have mentioned mentorship programs all over the place. People have talked about stream managers and et cetera, et cetera. And I think as this industry grows and as it gets more and more serious,
Yeah.
you start to see many, many micro markets within like the main space that is Twitch. And this isn't the only one, right? There's like
Sure.
thousands, if not millions, of other
Right.
people that are selling products or attempting to. There's so much, right? There's so many opportunities to monetize as a streamer, as a content creator, as in whatever position you're in, right? And I always say, a lot of people ask like, how many viewers do you need to have in order to go full time on Twitch? And I think that that's the wrong question.
Yeah.
I think the question should be like, what is the business model surrounding your content? Because if that's the question and you solve that, you have an answer for that, you can go full time content creation at literally any point. Because at that point, it's not about the viewership number. It's how are you using your stream to grow a business? This was something YouTubers
Right.
figured out like literally years ago. Years ago, years ago. They figured out you need to have a niche. You need to have like emotional resonance in your content, stuff that resonates with people. And then you also need to have a business model surrounding your content because AdSense is not very
Yeah,
good.
it's not gonna pay
And
for a
the
lot.
same
Yeah.
thing with Twitch is like we can't solely depend on bits and subs and tips and all of that forever because that stuff is fickle. It can change. There will be months where you do really well, and if your expectation is like, oh cool, now I'm doing really good and this is smooth sailing from here on out,
Mm-hmm.
it changes, right?
Yeah.
um and so yeah, like I said, it's not really a new idea. It's just recently starting to be acted on, I think, because people are starting to take Twitch a little bit more seriously. But they're not it's not that's not to say that streamers haven't taken it seriously in the past. They absolutely have. Most of the top performers on Twitch are people that look at their stream like a business.
Sure.
I haven't spoken to a single like successful person that I deem successful, and had them not speak to me as if it was like a business for them. And so I think that culture and then the knowledge of that culture, right? So we're getting to the point where like even smaller creators of all sizes are realize, oh, these big creators, these big streamers are treating this like a business. So whenever you have someone with like business acumen that comes in and they're like, hey, we can help you, because this goes so much deeper than, hey, have a schedule you're going to stand out in the directory of and turn on your camera and you're going to grow. It doesn't happen like that. Then I think people start to feel like maybe people can help them, or maybe they've just exhausted all of their mental creativity, or maybe they're just feeling overwhelmed. Sometimes what I do is I just help people through emotional struggles, right? And that's a part of it as well, because a part of streaming is emotional. A lot of people get connected to the numbers and to the outcomes and to the expectations that they have, and they don't know how to deal with those kinds of situations. So in that circumstance, I think that it's good to have someone have your back that has experienced those things before. So I think that that's a massive part about it. And yeah, honestly, like, there's coaching in so many other industries. There's coaching everywhere. There's business coaches and life coaches and success coaches and like energy coaches and literally everything. So at some point it was going to happen with streaming.
True. And the so you could see a need for stream coaching to exist for someone that, say, starts today. Like, today I want to start streaming, they push the start button on OBS or XSplit or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
And you could also see probably some need for streaming, even partnered streamers, longtime partnered streamers. Maybe they have come upon, like you were just saying with the AdSense, in a way, like, you hit a stale period, you hit a plateau of some kind, and you're looking for like a refreshing look. That might be another way a stream coach could kind of come in and say, have you looked at this? This is some new trend. Maybe we can work on this, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think there needs to be a distinction made between coaches get amazing advice, and people too, because there's stream managers. Like, there are people that will literally go out and do work for you. They'll go out and find people for you to collab with. They'll go out and like they'll advertise for you, they'll market for you, they'll go get your stream in front of more people, they'll create like amazing just things that you could be posting on social media. There's so many helpful people out there. But the difference between coaching and teaching is that teaching is all based on the teacher. It's all based on like how I deliver knowledge, how I present information to people, and how I can make that engaging and interesting in a way that people will want to consume it in a YouTube video or in a live format. But coaching is 100% based on the student. It's based on the person who is the coach, right? Guiding the mentees or the coachees minds to understand, right? To understanding the concept. So you want them to understand, right? So in a perfect world, a mentor and a mentee, or like a coach and the person they're coaching, their student, is a relationship that happens because that person doesn't completely understand yet the concepts behind streaming. Like, so not just, hey, you need to have a schedule, but deeper than that, it's why. Right? Yeah, it's why. And so a lot of coaching is me asking questions and helping people kind of get to that answer on their own, because a lot of people have this intuition already. They have this knowledge already.
Right.
Like, during a coaching session, I want people to be like, why are you asking me so many questions? You're supposed to be giving me the answers. Because that's literally the point, right? Like,
right.
The point of this entire conversation is not me to give you the answers. It's for me to help you develop that inner intuition, that trust with yourself, and you figuring out that you have these answers as well, right? Especially if you've been learning from myself, other amazing educators like Broman and Shadow Fox, who's another stream coach, and all the other resources like Streamer Square is amazing. The Emergence is amazing. There's so many resources out there to gain knowledge, but there's only so much that people can teach you. And then at some point you're going to have to learn how to understand, right? There has to be this flip that switches where you just get it. And you're like, oh, now all the things that you've been saying make sense. Because back in the day too, like, you could tell me, hey, you need to schedule, hey, you need to do this, hey, this. And great, that's awesome information, but I don't know how that applies to my specific situation, right? I don't know how that applies to what I'm doing.
Hmm.
And it changes all the time as well. Like this industry is always changing. So
Sure.
you have to really get it. You have to understand it and understand the concepts in order to be able to adapt. Because if you're not going to be able to adapt, then you're going to have a really, really difficult time with just staying relevant for a longer period of time, which I assume most people want to do if they're looking to
Right.
grow a
Yeah.
stream.
That seems like
Right.
a common goal for probably everyone. Yeah.
Right.
So that's interesting that, and it makes complete sense to me. Like when you first, let's say you interface with a client or something, and it basically turns into just asking them a bunch of questions for them to find a way, as you mentioned, that it almost turns into more like a little bit like a psychology session, right? Like if you have a psychiatrist or something, they pretty much just ask questions, and then you're like, oh, maybe I should do that. They might give you some helpful hints on how to get to where you want to go, but essentially it's them helping you sort of realize who you are and what the problem is inside to find the solution. When you were
Yeah,
mentioning
absolutely.
managers and coaches, it was kind of interesting. I just thought of this, like, let's say that, I mean, Twitch is a big enough business as it is, but if there's a something like, and I'm going to go back to the idea of a sports agent or an actor's agent. I don't know what you call those. I guess acting agents, but or just agent. But they have these companies that sort of house all these different agents, and inside the companies they have things like coaches or exercise gurus or something like that. All these different walks of life, they have people in house that deal with that. Could you ever see the formation of something like that for Twitch? But it would be like a company that had a portion that was coaching, a portion that was just managers, a portion that was maybe like a social media experts, another portion that did something else, but all under one housing. Do you think that it's
Oh
commercial
yeah.
enough for that to exist?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's coming. That's definitely coming.
The CAA of Twitch.
There's so right. There's so many different skills that, like, as a streamer you need to have and you need to be good at, right? Because it goes way beyond just be average at a bunch of things. It's like, no, you have to be good at a bunch of things.
Yeah.
And that skill really needs to be developed. And there are absolutely, so like I've said, the culture that I really try to push is like, have a solid business model surrounding your
Mm-hmm.
content, right? There are people who are starting like uh, social media agencies or like marketing agencies through Twitch. There are people who, you've got like the King's Coast Coffee guys, you've got
Mm-hmm.
like, there's so many businesses that are starting that at some point, yeah, I think it would absolutely make sense for there to be just kind of a one-stop shop for literally everything.
Right.
And as coaching grows and as this develops into a more like serious market, I think serious business,
Mm-hmm.
there will absolutely be like fully fledged programs, and not just like, hey, come here and let someone talk to you for an hour and pay them some money. It's going to be like, there are actual lesson plans, right? And um, there are things that you can learn, and like you go through each video or each like module, each lesson plan, and then you move on to the next level, and then you get certified. Maybe you get some kind of like neat little certification or some document you can print out, or maybe they even
That'd be
send it to you
interesting.
in the
Yeah.
mail.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
would be so freaking cool.
Yeah.
If you like graduate from Stream Coach University. Oh
Right.
my god. That would be so freaking awesome.
I got to take 201 now. I finished 101.
Yes, there
Um,
is so much. There's so much potential there, and I think like myself and of course like many other people in this community, like they see this as a business, right? And when you see it as a business, you see all of these different opportunities for businesses that would fill the holes that are currently in the Twitch community. There are
sure.
like
Yeah.
10 different businesses that are on my mind right now. I'm like, oh my god, they need this, they need this, they need this, they need help with this. Oh my gosh, there's so much potential here, but it's just who's gonna act on it, right? And who's gonna act on it with clarity, who's gonna act on it in a way that is authentic to who they are, and it doesn't just come across as like it being a thing that they're doing just for the money aspect of it, because that's kind of a loaded topic as well, which we'll get
Sure.
into if you want, because
Sure.
I got some feels on that. But
Okay.
But yeah, there's so much potential here. There's so
That
much, not just potential for content, but potential for businesses and streamers to build businesses surrounding what they do as well.
Sure. And so that brings up another secondary question, which may be a is this a negative of that maybe coming business model where there's the house that kind of controls everything? When that is created or starts up working, does that then mean that you could sort of plug and play anyone? Or sort of almost anyone to some threshold. Let's say the best streamer in the world, best personality, most entertaining person you've ever heard of in the world. They made it on their own, and this is fantastic. And then you have someone that starts today, which hasn't have they haven't learned all those skills. Some people are just kind of inherently a little more personable than other people, and that's fine. But does a company like that, with all of those separate subsections in it, with these different capabilities, could they basically go out to someone on the street, say, you have the right look and the right voice and the right personality, we're going to put you on Twitch, here's a box, we're going to ship it to your house, all you got to do is set it up, push play, it does everything for you?
Oh man, don't they already do that for other sides of the entertainment industry?
Yes, they do. That's right? What I was wondering.
Do, yeah.
I assume it's
They
probably
totally
coming, right?
Oh dude, I would imagine, honestly.
Yeah.
I would imagine. I don't think that's. Here's the thing though, is I think that there's a certain combination of skills that are very, very difficult to develop and very difficult to and take time, right? I don't think in most cases that people can just start a stream and they're just good at it and they run with it and they're perfect and they do great.
Sure.
Right? I think that a big part of this is trial and error and learning and developing as a human being, because we have to kind of consider ourselves as leaders, right?
Mm-hmm.
But is it possible to have that happen? I mean, I think that will be a thing in the future. And there's an entire, like, the content acquisition team, their job is literally to go out to other platforms, find very supportive, very passionate communities that aren't in existence on Twitch yet, and to bring those communities and that content into a live structure.
Yeah.
So how can we take people from these other industries, from these passionate spaces, and bring them into Twitch as well, and create a live show for them for the things that they're already passionate about? That's huge. Like, that's massive. We're literally looking at every single thing that people, and this is like giving me goosebumps to talk about right now, every single thing that people are interested in can be brought to Twitch in some way.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
being like the mover and shaker of that, being the first person to bring that thing, while in the beginning, maybe it's a little bit slower, but being the first person to bring a thing to Twitch is like gonna help you so much more.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, having that bonus of being that first person is going to be so much easier on you than being the person who is like late to the party or is just trying all of these tricks and trying to figure out the perfect mixture of video games for them. Like, you will always have an easier time if you're the first person to a content style, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And definitely in content style, as you're saying, even, I mean, you can even see that a micro portion of that when a new game comes out, you know what I mean? There'll be 3 or 4 guys, I'm not saying guys isn't a gender, but people that become the big streamers of this game that weren't necessarily known before them, but now this is their thing and they become, popular through that. Even more so if, like you're saying, you become the first person that does a cooking show. I mean, all of a sudden every cooking show is trying to do your cooking show and you're the ultimate cooking show. Everything after that becomes, how can I provide more of an entertainment value than the previous? It's a tall order for anyone that comes after the first.
There's a good quote for this that totally makes sense in literally like every facet of content creation. And the quote is, different is better than better.
Oh yeah.
So just like trying to take what a creator is doing and improving on that thing will not stand out nearly as much as you just doing something completely different that's true to you and bringing a different thing to the platform. And I think the reason that this is so powerful is there's still a lot of people in the world who haven't heard about Twitch yet. And the minute that their favorite YouTuber goes over there, maybe then they find the love of their life from Twitch.
Right.
It's crazy. And there's this huge mindset too right now among I shouldn't say right now because this is a thing that's been prevalent for a long time, but there's a big like scarcity mindset out there, which is like if people get viewers or if people get attention, if someone else gets something, I don't get that thing, right?
Oh yeah,
Whenever,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whenever we like look to level up the level of everyone on Twitch, so through things like stream coaching and educating other streamers and mentorship programs and courses and ebooks and all of these things that are going to be coming out in the future, when we look to level up everyone who is here, one, that makes us all more competitive, so we are all forced to get better and to learn how to serve people better and how to create better, more engaging broadcasts. But also that will bring in more people, because when we get more competitive in a way that is productive and not in a way that is destructive, when we get competitive, then we open ourselves up to the opportunities that are available to us. We start bringing in different styles of content because we want to be the movers and the shakers, and we bring more of the world and more of people that haven't found Twitch yet on to Twitch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm a big believer in that. Like I'm a huge believer in the abundance mindset and in thinking like literally everyone can have success. Like you don't own your viewers, right? You don't control what they do. They are human beings. They are able to make their own choices. If someone else is going to serve them better, that's not like, you shouldn't try to control them and tell them, hey, no, don't let that other person create a better stream for you. You should take that responsibility on yourself and say, how can I make a better stream to where people actually want to stick around?
Exactly. Yeah, people are going to come and stick around for you, not necessarily whatever game you're playing or whatever you're cooking on the stream. So along the lines of coaching, just a minute ago we talked a little bit about, could you just take someone off the streets and make them the next star with my fold out of box, here's your streaming superstar solution. In your time stream coaching, or maybe that you've heard someone else had to do this, have you given advice to someone that the advice kind of boiled down to maybe streaming is not for you?
This is so good. And so many people have so many opinions about this question. Okay. So I think we absolutely have to acknowledge, okay, that there are going to be people that just can't hack it. All right. I would be lying if I said literally every can just start up their stream and at some point they're going to get hundreds going to love them. However, there are also people who struggle for years and years and years, and all they need is some tweaking, or they need to like try and sit down and figure out who they are more. Like there are absolutely things that you can do to become a better entertainer, to grow your community, to learn more about this space, and to create what is ultimately a product for people, and to make that product way better, right? Like if I wasn't such a huge believer in education, like I would not have this belief. But I know, and I've personally seen how education has completely changed myself as a creator, as a human being, as a leader, how it has brought like light and energy and so much freaking love into my life. And all of that has happened because I have become this like autodidact version of myself where I'm just obsessed with knowledge. Like I want to accumulate as much of it as I can. That will absolutely change your stream. Okay, there are absolutely things you can learn. There are absolutely skills you can develop to make you better. But if you've tried everything, right? If you've tried it, like you're trying, and the rest of your life is suffering, right? If like you're ignoring your family, you're ignoring your real life responsibilities, you're missing out on other opportunities as well, because there are things that you are blinded to whenever you're trying to, and I'm like legit just going to steal something that Lono said earlier during our conversation. If you're just trying to freaking white knuckle this and you're streaming like 6 or 7 days a week, 8 to 10 hours a stream, and you're just like, I have to make this work, please, oh Lord, please make this work. Like, make it happen. And you get to that level of desperation that you're ignoring literally anything else, then it becomes destructive. Okay.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with being a hobby streamer or being an aspiring streamer and just being at that level forever. That's perfect. That's a great space to be in. Like
Sure.
having fun on Twitch, there is absolutely a space for people that just don't care about growth and just want to stream and have fun.
Yeah.
There's also
Mhm.
absolutely a place and can absolutely have success if you want to aspire to be someone who's larger. You can even be someone who is a smaller creator and have that be your level of success as well. I think like you really have to figure out and define what your level or what your definition of success is, right? Because so many people are like, I want to be Ninja. I want to make,
Yeah.
he's probably making like $1 million a month, everything that
Oh,
he's
yeah,
doing.
absolutely.
I want to make all this money a month. I want to make all of this.
Hmm.
That's my definition of success. And if that's your definition of success, you're probably going to have a difficult time
Yeah.
and you're going to get burnt out and you're not going to be the best version of yourself like you really need to be as a creator.
Sure. You could save time and money buying a lottery ticket too, if that's your goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And here's the thing is like a lot of people try to stick themselves into this box of, oh my God, I have to be a streamer. I have to be very entertaining and attractive and I have to stream, Fortnite or PUBG or League or whatever,
Yeah.
even if it's variety games,
Yeah.
like I have to be this person. And they put this person on a pedestal so much to the point where they don't realize that they could be a really, really, really great something else and get all the notoriety, all of the love, all the attention that they originally wanted from streaming, but they'd be way better at doing something else, right?
Mhm.
And there's nothing wrong with you not being a streamer either. Like you could be a really fantastic freaking mod. There are a million other ways that you can contribute to the Twitch and the streaming community overall rather than just being a streamer. We don't have to
Right.
like box ourselves into the idea that streamers are the only ones with value. Like moderation has amazing value. Creating communities or creating businesses for streamers, or maybe just doing like social media for people or helping people out, or just like being a viewer too, because that's a huge part of it as well. Maybe you just really like a 9-to-5 job. Maybe you want to be more active in real life and Twitch is just a way that you relax, right?
Sure.
But I think the amazing part about Twitch is that there's something for everyone here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's something for everybody. It appeals to everyone.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, go ahead.
no, you're good. So there's like literally there's everything and we can always help. We can always go beyond just hobbies. We can treat it seriously or we cannot.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more, especially with the when you were mentioning that, some people maybe eventually come to the realization that streaming is either not something that's super important to them in the long run, or maybe it turns out that they don't, streaming is tough a lot of times. It could take a long time to get to maybe the goals that you have. But, like you were just saying, starting up communities, being like a Discord moderator or even a channel moderator, doing social media, things like that are so freaking important. There's a lot of, I'm a part of Twitch Kittens, a moderator, and they have a huge set of moderator people. They have these reps and everything. And most of those people don't stream. This is just what they do. This is what they like to do. And it's so needed in a community to grow, and even to grow the streamers that are a part of that community. Not even maybe, sometimes communities are like there's just one streamer that is based around, but even a big community where everyone is streaming, those type of people and those type of roles are needed in this world.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Twitch doesn't work without that.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody builds anything, right? Like you need a team behind you. You need a group of people that believe the same thing you believe. And you guys all kind of go after this huge, massive mission together. I'm a huge believer in that, right? And in building teams, and regardless of like who's the supposed leader of the team, because they're the face of it, because they're the streamer, every single position is valuable. Every single position, every single person has a space and has something to contribute, right? And their life has value regardless of, that's a huge thing too, like how many followers you have or whether or not you stream.
Right, exactly. There's some element of it when I kind of asked, have you ever had to say maybe streaming's not for you? There's also a pretty, and I noticed that I'm a Twitch Kittens moderator. I run a couple other communities as well, but we see all the time, literally every single day, people come in upset. Viewership numbers aren't what they should be. No one's supporting them. Those kind of feelings. There's a huge issue with mental health when it comes to streaming that is, I talked to a friend of mine, Ichi Badass, was on the show 2 weeks ago, and that's kind of his big thing is healthy life, healthy body, healthy mind, and streaming at the same time. And that seems like another. I could see if you were coaching someone or trying to help someone along with their stream, that being a pretty big landmine coming into that type of realization that maybe there is a lot deeper of a health issue here, or sort of a psychological issue here, and maybe it's a self-esteem issue, maybe it's a body image issue, maybe it's something like that. Yeah, I don't think I'm asking a question. I think I'm saying, like, I'm kind of realizing that I could see that completely derailing maybe what could be a coaching session, trying to help them get to where they want to do in terms of social media or panels or networking or something like that. Then all of a sudden you realize that this might be the problem. You're like, oh crap. And then does it become impossible to solve at that point without, professional help maybe?
Right. I think like that's one of the beautiful things about streaming is that it makes you kind of focus inward
Yeah.
on yourself. And some of us have very, very negative internal voices that we battle daily and non-stop daily, right? We've got tons of people in this community who openly speak on some heavy, heavy topics like suicide prevention or anxiety, depression, like schizophrenia, which is so like underrepresented, or like all of these. There's so many struggles. There's so much that goes on. And whenever you are put into a position, regardless of whether it's streaming or not, but with streaming specifically, you are forced to turn inwards and to figure out, like, how do I, right? How do I insert thing that I want to do here? And so you're forced to learn more about yourself and to learn what your short to hopefully find that positive inner voice that loves you, and if not finding it, then creating it and cultivating it, because it can be created, right? The things that you focus on in your chat is what gets attention and what
Right.
community. It's the same with your inner voice, right? What you focus on with your inner voice is what gets focused on and what gets more attention. So if you give a lot of attention to that negative inner voice, you're going to have that negative inner voice kind of amplified, and it's going to be very loud. So I think that's so great about streaming, is that it makes us become better people. And I really think, like, if you realize the power that you have, or when you start to realize that you have some sort of power, some sort of influence over people, you have to make the decision of, well, do I want to just proceed and not really care, not really have empathy? And there are plenty of people who have large streams and they don't really have that like level of care and love and attention. They don't want to be a leader, right? They don't want to be like quote unquote influential, but they are. And that's the reality of the situation whenever you're put into whether that's in front of hundreds of people, thousands of people, or even just tens of people. If you have influence and impact and you're speaking into someone's life, maybe you should focus a little bit more on being a better role model. Like maybe you should try to look at many different lifestyles and have empathy for many different types of people. Maybe you should be as inclusive as you can and build as inclusive of a community and community culture as you can. Like, I really believe that being a leader is something that you have to do if you want to grow a stream. I think that leadership quality can grow your presence on camera. It can make people feel more respectful of you. Like, they feel more excited that you say. They get, they feel more passionate whenever you're more passionate about things as well. And it also just leads to you taking every single decision that you make extremely seriously. And so you're like, oh, I'm not just going to promote garbage, right? I'm not just going to like, I have all these numbers now. Now I can make money from sponsors. Yay. But whenever you like truly have that leadership quality and you take the relationships that you've built very, very seriously as people who are trying to become social influencers should be, you start to really analyze all of talk about the products that you promote, all of the organizations that you talk about and bring attention to. And you should, right? Like we should. we should try to be good people. We should try to be
Sure.
empathetic. We should try to promote things that are only in line with our belief systems instead of things that are just going to make fast cash for us or are just going to,
Hmm.
I don't know, maybe bring us more attention, because that attention sometimes is not actually what's best for you and your community.
Sure. The so not really switching gears because we're already kind of talking about it, but you brought up one point where you sort of gave the hypothetical that you're sort of white knuckling it. You're going through 6 or 7 days a week, really grinding. I mean, you see it all the time on everyone's stream. Partner push, partner grind, all those kind of words. I've had a couple guests on in the last couple weeks that went through a pretty. I'm referring specifically to my friend Wild Bill, who went through quite a bit of a time getting partnership, and then he talks pretty openly about what happens when you become partner. You sort of visualize partner as this ultimate achievement in life, the final achievement, and then all of a sudden it opens the door, and to the right is your yacht, and to the left is bags of money, and he sort of described this sort of post-partner depression a little bit, and it was sort of talking about how you get there and you kick down the door of partner. You finally did it after grinding all this time. And then you realize that the room that you're walking into is not this, the Scrooge McDuck diving in a money room. Instead, it is filled with other doors. This new room doesn't necessarily just have one door that's to partnership. It now has 10 doors, which is, let's say, this one's to sponsors, this one's to partners, this one's to developers, this one's to, all this different stuff. He had a really interesting discussion about that and how it really affected him, and how he had to basically take a time away to even after getting partnered, take time away to realize, okay, this is the game now. I thought this is the game before. Now I'm realizing this is the new game, and I'm getting it. He also made mention a few times to close friends of his that went through the same thing, became partner, and within 3 weeks they were no longer streaming, which is unfortunate, but I guess that post-partner sort of, I don't know what you call it. It's like the opposite of a honeymoon. Depression, I guess, is what it is.
Yeah.
But
It's like postpartum depression.
exactly.
Postpartner
Yeah, postpartum depression. Yeah, I see it in the chat now. Yep. Have you seen that? I know you just hit your partnership numbers today. I couldn't be more excited. But
Yay.
knowing you and all this knowledge, this is the last thing I think that would affect you. But have you seen it happen to other people? And have you been in a coaching session where you've said, listen, this is the actual long-term game. Don't think of partner as the end of the line.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've talked to many partners who are now struggling, right? Like they hit the numbers that they needed, they got their partner, they got their check mark, and then either they completely change their content or they feel like their content for some reason, but they're struggling now, and now they're not getting the numbers that actually got them to partnership. And so they're like, well, Ashley, what the freaking heck is going on?
Yeah.
Right? Like I have no idea why did this happen? And so I think a lot of that has to do with the way that the culture and the mindset kind of is surrounding things like affiliate and partner. So the achievements, right, that Twitch gave us, that's a really, really awesome way for us to be able to kind of track the content that does really well. Sure. And to tell if we're headed in the right direction and when we're not. But at the same time, it's kind of made us these achievement oriented, like goal setting types of people where like we hit this goal. Okay, now where's the next one? So we get that 3 viewer average. We stream all the amounts that we need to stream for like a week, and like was it 3 hours? Or I don't even remember. But you hit affiliate, and then you start your path and your journey to get partner, and then you hit partner, and then there's no real achievements after that, right? There's not like a double check mark.
Right. Yeah.
So like I'm a partnered partner.
It's like Paragon levels in Diablo or something.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. It's not infinite. It doesn't go forever. Right. So a lot of people see, and a lot of people in the community, regardless of whether you're a streamer or not, see partnership as like that's the goal. Yeah. Right. And that is a huge expectation, a huge mindset shift that I think needs to happen. So I actually interviewed Zachary Diaz, who is just on the Twitch like creator camp thing.
Yeah.
I think it was yesterday. But yeah, we had a in-depth discussion about this, and his idea and his kind of solution for it was that whenever you hit partner, you need to have a plan for afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Because what the heck happens whenever you have this amazing plan for growth? All right, you've been running with this awesome plan for growth. You've grown. You hit partner, and then what happens? Well, whenever you hit partner, you get a ton of momentum and a ton of attention, and people get really excited. So how do you take and leverage that attention that you're receiving and use it to go after and to hit other goals? There needs to be something after partnership, not necessarily on Twitch's end, but absolutely on the creator's end, right? Partner is not like you don't get the check mark, there's no. And if you're getting like, your expectation is that, you know, maybe you get more money or you get more notoriety or there's literally nothing that does not give you okay, you've hit partner, now here's your partnership welcome packet, here's everything that you should do now that you've hit it. The money doesn't change, right? Like the community feel doesn't change. You get a check mark next to your name, and it's really dependent on you at that point. It's like, how do you run with this?
Exactly.
Right? How do you take it upon yourself and take that responsibility to go further than what you've got now? And I think a lot of people think that there's gonna be some kind of partnership welcome packet, or there's gonna be,
you get a members only jacket, you get a special jacket.
You get the special jacket, and then that's it. No, you have to do so much more. Like it's not the end goal. Partner is something that is a testament to the work that you've already made. It doesn't work's over. You know, it really, for a lot of people, like the real work is when that happens.
Sure.
Right? Like the real work is when that happens, because now you're trying to, maybe now you're in a larger pool. So there's like 25,000 now or something. So the pool's a little bit smaller. You're not trying to stand out among 3.4 million broadcasters, like the total that is on Twitch, but you're trying to stand out among 25,000 people now. So there's a little bit of extra notoriety. However, it's still, the ceiling is a lot higher there. Like standing out amongst affiliates, like affiliates that are averaging 3 viewers, is a lot different and a lot easier than now having to be in the same arena as freaking Ninja, Dr. Disrespect, Shroud, all of those extremely established broadcasters. Now you're trying to compete with them. And I don't mean compete as in you're trying to like take their viewers and but you're trying to like up yourself and your quality and your community and the things that you give to the Twitch community to the level that they have, right?
Sure. And, sorry.
But yeah, totally. It's definitely a thing. There are plenty of people who they hit partner too, and they change up their content, and then their community's like, I don't really like this, so then they lose all the numbers. And a lot of people are like, I'm gonna hit partner and now I can finally relax.
Right.
That this can be detrimental.
This is actually when I talked to Ichi and Wild Bill in some previous weeks, they mentioned exactly what you said, the same type of thing, where the work doesn't end there. It actually gets a lot harder, because all of a sudden it's, wait, should I be networking with developers now? Should I be talking to these different people? Should I be working with manufacturers? So there's just like a huge list all of a sudden they get all these sticky notes all over the computers of things that they need to do. And when you mentioned a second ago that it's hard to stand out in terms of affiliates than it is with partners, sort of, and that the ceiling's a little higher. What are your feelings on, and I've seen this in a lot of different places, not necessarily a new thought, but what are your feelings on affiliate tiers, where there's a tier, you know how basically you can apply for partner when you get to 75 concurrent or 30 or whatever it was. It used to be 150, it used to be, I think, more than that, but it's come down to 75. Do you think that an affiliate tier system would help maybe separate those? I guess I'm not sure what the rewards would be, but I've seen a lot of talk about how people think that you should have maybe 3 tiers of affiliates. Affiliate tier 1 is you get 3 concurrent viewers, and I forget what the requirements are, 50 followers, I think. And then maybe tier 2 is like 200 followers and 8 viewers, and then tier 3 is and it keeps going up from there. Is that needless ladder rungs? Or do you think that would be able to better separate the community in terms of
numbers?
Yeah, I guess in terms of numbers, which is kind of it. I don't like saying it. It's a little bit gross to say it, but you know what I'm saying.
I mean, it's the reality.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Twitch Twitch judges, and they're not wrong, because like judging content based on the eyeballs that are on it, like in some circumstances that has failed us as
Yeah.
a culture, as a community, but in some ways it has shown people like what does resonate and what also has been promoted in a way that has resonated with people, to where they've actually freaking shown up for it time and time again. But I digress. Does there need to be tiers for affiliateship? Potentially. So there's a huge difference, right, between hitting affiliate, getting like 3 concurrent viewers versus 75.
Yes.
There's even a massive difference between 3 concurrent and 30 concurrent.
Oh,
or
yeah.
40 or 50.
And
like
we see it all the
massive.
time in our communities, by the way. I didn't mean to interrupt you. But
No, you're good.
we see affiliates that will come in, hit the affiliate mark, next stream, very next stream, partner push, next stream. And it's like there's a huge amount of missing time in between those two thresholds. So that's what I was talking to a community of mine, and I've seen it a lot on different sort of mediums about the affiliate program. But yeah, go ahead with your thoughts on it.
So it's hard to say on whether or not I think that tiers actually work. Like maybe if you had 2 more tiers, maybe to affiliateship, and each one unlocked a new emote or something. I've noticed that, like, as we're kind of growing, emotes are one of the things that like we're really really want. Emotes in a stream team.
Yeah.
So I think like being able to unlock an extra emote or 2 or 3 would be really really cool. But I personally feel like the bar for affiliate is honestly set really, really low. Yeah. Now, obviously, from a business perspective on Twitch's end, like they're getting more income.
Oh, yeah. Make a lot more money with that.
Yeah. They're making a ton more money. Yeah, right? Sure. They're making a ton of freaking money. Even people that have 3 concurrent viewers are able to get subscribers, are able to get bits and all of that stuff now, which awesome. Like, yes, I absolutely want creators, regardless of size, to be able to monetize their content. I think that is freaking awesome. Like there's such a loaded conversation that comes along with money, and whenever it comes to streaming, that loaded conversation is, are you doing it for the money? Yeah. And literally everyone who is listening right now, it is okay to want to make money. Okay? It is okay. Don't ever let someone tell you like you wanting to make any kind of financial reimbursement for the massive amounts of time that it takes to be a content creator is a bad thing. No, that's okay. That's understandable when you put a lot of time and effort and energy into something. I get you. I got you, baby. However, it's not something that you can do purely for the money, of course. Sure. So I guess it's such a hard topic, and I don't personally know what the solution is in that situation, because I feel like affiliateship, right, you get all of these perks, but let's be honest, to get 3 viewers, to stream 7 times, and to get 50 followers, like that's a very very small amount of work. Yeah, I could put on my cell phone and computer and have it today. Exactly. You can do it that way. You can get it on your own. Yeah, you can get, if you can't get like a sub button, right, then you're probably not working enough.
There's a bare minimum amount of effort required to get that. And if you can't get that, then it's a problem.
It's your work ethic at that point. It's like, what are you doing if you stream on a couple of different devices and stream like literally one game, a little bit less popular, but you're going to get the files from, or just hang out in somebody else's community? Because I guarantee you, if you hang out in our stream or like a stream similar to ours, there are plenty of streams where people will go and follow you because you're just present there, and because they like you're talking and you're trying to be friends. Right.
And I know so many partners that actually just got partnered. My friend Jamorian from Twitch Kittens and a friend of the show, Duty Beard, just I think maybe a month ago he was partnered. But both of those guys see in everyone's chat, small streamer chat, just chatting away. Might be 8 people in there. They're sitting there chatting. And it's like, I mean, we're in sort of the area of the talk for advice and lessons learned and things where, but that is like in the top 3 tips for anyone that I would ever give. And I'm sure other people would say the same, but it's like, the best advice we ever got on the show is from Jamorian, actually saying that you need to be the viewer that you want in your channel. So if you go to someone's
Yeah.
channel and you're not talking and maybe you just pop in once a week or something, but then you expect everyone to come to your channel, it's like, well, you're not spending any time helping, not necessarily even helping, but doing that is in itself expanding your social network or expanding the network of your brand and your show. So that's always the first question when someone asks me or we see in the Twitch Kittens chat or any other communities, you know, how come I'm not feeling at this? Well, okay, how much time do you spend in other people's channels? How much time do you spend watching people? Oh, well,
Right.
not a lot. Okay, well,
What
why?
you doing?
Yeah, why
What
is
you
someone
doing?
gonna come
It's
watch
a
you?
community,
Right.
right? It's a freaking community.
Exactly.
You don't be a part of a community by not ever talking or getting to know anyone.
Exactly.
If you want a community, be a part of other communities and the overall Twitch community. It's
Right.
not, yeah, it shouldn't be freaking rocket science that if you want people to know you, if you want to be known for something, if you want to reach all these massive goals in streaming, that like you just need to be a part of the community,
Right.
Get to know as many people as you can, regardless of size, because a lot of people put like heavy weight behind these numbers. And instead just be a legitimate person. But yeah, I've totally noticed that too. And here's my thought on it, and it's something that like I talk about a lot because I only stream 3 days a week.
Uh-huh.
And there are so many people who are struggling to grow their community, to grow a stream, to do whatever, blah blah blah, and they are streaming like 6 days a week, 8 hours a stream, or even if it's only like 4 hours a stream, it's still so many days a week, and they're investing
Yeah.
so much time and energy into purely streaming. However, what is going to be more successful and put you in front of more people? You being live 6 days a week to the point where you don't have time to spend in anyone else's channel,
Exactly,
yet
yeah.
you're in front of 3 people, or you being live less but spending like 3 or 4 days in communities that are already established in front of 150 people. Which one do you think is going to be better for you and better
Yeah,
for your
absolutely.
right?
Yep.
If you're with 150 people, you're probably getting to know a few of them. It's probably going to be more than 3, right?
Uh-huh.
So spend more time in spaces that are already established to become parts of those communities. And I didn't take this information seriously when I first heard it. I was like, you're just saying that because you have an established community and you want people to spend more time in it. No.
Yeah.
No. Okay. I don't care about that. That number does not freaking matter to me. That red number haunts everybody. I don't give a flying freak about it. Okay. But what we have to acknowledge is that there are spaces that are already developed. So why are you not
Sure.
like going to those spaces, figuring out what it is about those places that resonates with you so much to the point where you're like, oh, hey, there's hundreds of people in here and I'm also here. So
Right.
figuring out that and being a part of those communities that you love, that you would like to have a community similar to someday, is such a good idea and such a better way for you to spend your time.
Right. And not only are you there, as I mentioned, doing some kind of, and even if you don't think it's networking as, again, I'm quoting Jamorian saying, networking is really just a fancy word for making friends, is what he said.
Oh,
That's
totally.
kind of what it is. Not only are you there sort of making friends with people in the chat, but that you're also, so I just lost my train of thought. I know what I was going to say. Okay. No. So there's different levels of viewership, and when people say, you know, you should be out there promoting and supporting other people's channels in order to get them to support you. Another thing I've seen is, well, you know, I sub to your channel, so why don't you sub to my channel?
Oh, here
Well,
we go.
I followed you. It's time to follow me.
Follow.
Exactly. It's so ridiculous. And I also see a lot of people that don't necessarily say that, but then we have different threads and different communities we have where it's like a venting channel or there's someone complaining about something, and almost every single time it's, you know, I donated this guy $50. I never see him on my channel. Like if that's the
my
reason you're
gosh.
donating, you have a problem. Okay. There's no being a positive influence on a community or in a viewership is so much more important than a sub or some bits or something like that. And I think that some people get trapped in this world where giving some donation earns them something, or they deserve mod now because I gave you 5,000 bits. There's some ridiculous thing like that.
Right.
We've seen that a bunch, but it's crazy, and it's the same thing as people need to sort of not only learn how to be a streamer, but also you kind of need to learn how to be a viewer as well. Like there's
Right.
some etiquette to it. There's some things to do and not do, and definitely some mental aspect of that you need to sort of figure out, I guess. And this exists on social media as well. We had a small issue in the past week where there was a problem where someone was upset because they weren't being supported by getting follows back. And a pretty prominent streamer sort of just said, like, hey, I mean, I appreciate the follow, but if your content is not something that I enjoy, why would I support that? Kind of but in a lighter term, but
Right.
it's very true. If even if I really like the broadcaster, I'll usually follow them. But I don't watch cooking streams. If someone that ran a cooking stream followed me, what's the expectation that I follow them? If I don't like cooking streams or something like that, it's a weird expectation of mutual benefit. The follow for follow, the sub for sub, and this that exists in social media as well is crazy, and we see it every single day in the communities.
I mean, it's people think that relationships are transactional, right? And they're not.
Right.
Like it's not. You don't put tokens into a slot machine and then friendship and support falls out. That's not
Right.
that's not how it works. You do things, and Dave in chat actually had like a really, really great quote for this right now, which is love and support isn't a tool, it's a treasure. Like
Yeah.
you don't love people and support them and follow them with the expectation of receipts. You don't do things because you're like, this is something that is 100% going to come back on me someday. Now, the natural like human tendency is that you want to support those who have supported you and love those who have loved you.
Sure. Absolutely.
However, that's not going to be the result in a lot of situations. And that's okay. Like it's okay to support something because you really, really love it, and the person that you supported doesn't really resonate with your space, and so they don't come through and support you back. That's normal. That's gonna happen sometimes.
Yeah.
The problem starts whenever we hold these like receipts in our heads of, oh, I tipped $50 to this person. Okay, I gave 3 gift subs in this channel. How are you gonna remember all that crap? Oh my gosh! First off, but second off, like, why? What's the point of that? What's the point of you setting like deadlines on these freaking emotional receipts that you've got stored up in your brain bank, and you're saying like, oh hey, by the way, person, make sure that you pay your debt to me.
No. I'll remember that,
right? Like I'll remember you.
Yeah.
No, what?
That's what I'm writing down here is these IOUs and these pieces of just kidding.
Right? Your valuable mental energy. Why would you be spending it in that way? Why can't you just like don't keep track of anything? Just put out as much good, positive energy as you can into life, and at some point that is going to be returned to you because that's just naturally how the universe freaking works. But don't wait and don't sit around grumpy like, where is my piece of cake too? I gave you some, where's mine? No, just keep being positive and loving, and yeah, it will happen.
And someone actually quoted back to me today. I forget what medium is on. Maybe it was Twitter or something like that. But I think they were misunderstanding what the difference is between giving something and expecting something in return, and what really altruism is. And there's that's sort of how you have to treat Twitch, is in an altruistic way, where you help people because you enjoy helping people, and you enjoy their content, or you like making someone laugh or smile for that day, or they're having a bad day, you help them out. It is not still altruism if an hour later you expect them to be in your show and supporting you.
Right.
That's the opposite of what that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we see that a lot as well.
Mm-hmm. It's such a shame too that you mentioned like people hit affiliate and then immediately it's like yay, because I feel like that's ignoring such a huge piece of this, which is just the length of giving, right?
Yeah.
And just giving without the intention to receive for a long time until you start seeing that receipt and that positive, like that affirmative action that you've put out there come back onto you
Mm-hmm.
as a creator. They're trying to like force that relationship to happen, and it just, you can't force it. It's something that you receive because of how much positive energy and light you're putting back out to others. So
Sure.
yeah,
Uh,
I love that.
in terms of a little bit of coaching and a little bit of advice, someone starting out. Actually, let's skip the starting out because there's a different set of questions for that. Let's do maybe 8 average viewership, something like that. Long-term goal, maybe partner, but really just sort of having a solid community. What and I think that covers a huge majority of people that stream. What has been or what would you think are your top, like, maybe 1 or 2 pieces of advice for someone like that? Maybe that you've given out to people in your stream coaching sessions, or that you just thought of right now. But something like, what do you consider the 1 or 2 most important things when it comes to growing a channel, maybe consistently? And yeah, I'll leave it there because I'll just end up answering the question.
Yeah. So the 2 things that pretty much immediately pop to mind, and I can give so much knowledge to people that are at that level. The 2 things that immediately pop to mind is specifically based on like how you worded the question. So you said someone who has 8 viewers and maybe someday wants to be a partner. I
Yeah.
think that someday is a result of fear. I think that someday I want to make this happen for me. Someday I want to reach this goal is a result of someone not wanting to take the responsibility of their growth onto themselves as seriously as they need to in order to actually reach goals. It's okay to say, hey, I want to be a partner, regardless of what your viewership level is. It's okay to have that as a goal and to be open about that.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you set that as a goal and you're open about that and you talk about it with the people who are in your space, regardless of how many people there is, right? You start to do things that are going to make you reach higher. And a lot of people don't reach higher because they're afraid. They're afraid of failure, which is why a lot like, I don't want to say that I want to be a partner someday, because technically they're afraid of failure. They don't want to announce that to the world, fail at it, and then they think that they lose some kind of value as a human being, right? So
Right.
I would first off say, learn how to identify those fears that you have. Stop letting fear control, especially the things that you say. The things that you say are going to bring a completely different reality to you based on just what comes out of your mouth. If you say things like, I'm going someday, that is completely different from saying, I wish I could be a partner, right? That has totally different implications. So don't let that fear control you. Don't let that fear control the things that you say. Even if you still have that fear inside of you, that's okay. But aspire to be bigger, aspire to be better, and don't let fear hold you back from those large aspirations, regardless of where you are in your journey right now. And anywhere that you are in your journey, viewers that still have fear about reaching out, and this manifests as like people are afraid of reaching out to streamers who are more established than them, or who have a higher viewership, or who have like maybe they've got massive community, or maybe they're just very well known, semi-famous, and you're afraid of developing a relationship with that person for that reason. And I was guilty of this for a while as well. But so don't let that fear control you, I think is the one of the biggest pieces of advice. I see that everywhere. People don't even realize how much they let fear control them in their content, and it's crazy. It prevents you from just putting content out there. It prevents you from going after your dreams. It prevents you from just being a freaking bull about the things that you need to do in order to reach those goals that you have. I can go on and on and on about fear and how controlling it is and how detrimental it is, but at some point everyone's going to have to learn how to identify those fears and how to just like reach through the other side of them and say, like, I'm not going to let this fear control me anymore, and I'm going to do it. And then after that, you've kind of assessed that situation and you said, okay, you know what? I've got eight viewers, but I'm going to be a partner someday. Then you start doing different things, right? You start setting yourself up for success because you're bullish about it. You're like, let's go, let's freaking do this. The number one thing that I think people should be focusing on at that point is consistency. So I cannot express the I was so inconsistent back in the day. I would skip streams. I would skip like sometimes weeks at a time and come back. I've skipped months at a time and come back. And every single time, it's because of my mindset and my expectations that I have as a creator and as someone who is trying to grow a community. Part of that is because I've had fear. And so I would stop showing up to streams because I'm just not seeing growth and I'm afraid that it's never going to happen. So I'll stop being consistent, right?
So
And
they sort of feed into each other. And
exactly.
yeah.
Well, fear is like prevalent in literally
Sure.
every single thing whenever it comes to streaming.
Mm-hmm.
So consistency is really really massive, because, and it's not just like, hey, be consistent because your viewers think that you're like a TV show and if the TV show wasn't there they'd be mad. Like, yeah, obviously, but let's go deeper than that. Like, why is consistency important? So whenever you are consistent, like I'm saying this literally the day before, like I missed my first stream. Like I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm not going to be streaming on 2 scheduled days that we have this week, and my streams this week is 1 day, but whatever. The reason that consistency is so important, right? Like, have not missed a stream, have not shown up late, and you can see this in our analytics, like on Twinge right now, and see we have not missed anything because you become a part of someone's routine.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
You want people to either get off work, or even if it's during the workday and you're streaming, whatever point that they are at in their lives, you want them to not even have to think about whether or not you're streaming. You don't even want them to have to see like your tweet, to have to see your Instagram message, to have to see whatever it is that you do to alert people that you're live. You want them to know your schedule so well because you made it so easy to understand and you're so consistent with it that they can count on you being there. So that is going to make you a part of their routine that's natural. It becomes a habit at that point. And when you become someone's habit, that is massive. That is really where you start to see these huge like viewership upticks and these upswings, is whenever people know that they can count on you to show up. So that also kind of develops like a level of trust, right? That develops a level of just a relationship, and I guess a trust you and from your people that are surrounded by you and want to enjoy your space and the culture that you're creating and the community experience that you're creating. And the more you can develop trust with people, the more that you kind of become, right, this influencer. I think that word is kind of weird.
It is a little bit. I've heard it so much lately.
I air quote it. I also air quote networking. So I don't like that word either. Like they're both really cringy and gross to me whenever it comes to the context of streaming. Whatever. So whenever you develop trust, right, that is why people get sponsors. That is why people get these huge brand deals. That's why people are making thousands and millions of dollars in some cases, because they've taken the time to develop relationships, because they've taken that relationship from, hey, here's some random guy playing a game and has webcam turned on. Oh wait, now I know him because he's talking about his beliefs.
Sure.
Now I know more about his lifestyle and the things that he believes in. Oh hey, I believe in those things too. Now I like him. Ooh, I like him because he believes the same things as me. And then I like him. He believes the same things as me. He showed up routinely. He's followed through on all the things that he said that he went through with. Now I trust him. Yeah. And now you can recommend whatever. Okay. Of course, you still want to be recommending things that you truly believe in, but that's when you really start to develop influence.
Sure.
And that's when you start to become known as, right, whenever you develop that level of influence with many different people. So yeah, consistency.
It's almost like when and here's me talking as old man Moshkates again. There used to be cartoons on Saturday morning, and one of them was X-Men, and he would wake up and watch this like every day at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. And
are you old? Because am I old?
I think so. I don't know when X-Men ended, but I used to do that when I was a kid.
Yes.
So yeah, it was sort of that, and same thing with TGIF. You remember that?
Yes.
There's a TGIF section of shows, which was like Full House and something else. But those shows were always on 9 o'clock. And that sort of consistency, I think, is what you're talking about, where I can get home from work and be cooking or something like that, or making lunch. I know, oh, let me turn on the TV real quick and throw Twitch up on Chromecast. I know Ash is going live, and it's like, or whatever time might be. That sort of consistency is freaking huge. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
Right. And think about all the rituals that we've got surrounding those moments in our life where we're like Saturday morning, you think, okay, pajamas, okay, cereal, sitting down on the floor in front of my parents' TV and sitting there for hours watching Pokemon and Digimon and X-Men and Gargoyles and like all that back in the day, like all that stuff, right? That goes beyond just turn the TV show on and it's there consistently. There's an entire routine for you.
Right.
There's an entire like culture and lifestyle that you develop because of that thing, and that's the same thing that streamers do.
Sure, and that's we sort of started off close to the top of the show talking about how Twitch is sort of invading way more of quote unquote real life or whatever you want to call it, but outside of the arena of just video games and people that like to watch really skilled video game players, something like that. There's way more of a tune in at this time to see this person. I don't care what this person's doing. I just want to tune in to listen to her talk. You know what I mean? Or see what she did this weekend. I got to catch up. She was on a trip. I got to see it. Yeah, that sort of consistency is important for those aspects, but also it leads to an even more of a sort of an emotional connection, to the host,
right?
Which I think goes even further to keeping people coming back. I actually have a paper here that I read, and it's so funny. So in my never-ending quest to increase the different topics we talk about on the show, I came across this paper, and it's titled "Social Motivations of Live Streaming Viewer Engagement on Twitch," and so I read through it. It's a fantastic paper. They have a lot of statistics I'll mention in just a second, but it turns out that the author of this paper used to be in my guild for a game called WildStar when I played it maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But I emailed her, and I never knew her real name. So I emailed her saying, hey, I'm from Twitch. I have the show. Your paper is fantastic. I would really like to talk to you. And the response was, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. I'm like, huh? It's just so random. But they have all these statistical analyses for, they send out all these, surveys to Twitch viewers about why they watch and then why they subscribe or why they donate. And across the board, the number one answer is social interaction and I'm not sure what they called it here. Emotional connectedness is what they called it. Is by far the biggest follower increase for any size channel. Not necessarily a size channel that's over 2,000 concurrent viewers is higher on entertainment, but below that, it's social interactions and emotional connectedness for every type of channel and every type of host. And it was really interesting to read this and their sort of analyses on it and their take on the questions they presented in the survey. It was very interesting, but that's like another. Not necessarily another tip, but something that maybe goes without saying, which is you need to provide some way for the viewership to sort of feel, not necessarily like they're, it's so weird to talk about this because you're sort of reducing people
I
to
talk about this all the time.
Figures, you know what I'm saying? But to make them feel like a part of the show or a part of your life. And I have a lot of friends, and I try and do it myself. I have a lot of friends. I'm sure you do the same thing. People come to the channel, hey, what's going on? And it's not just, oh, hey, what's going on, Twitch streamer, 1902. It's, oh, hey, how you doing? Is your dog okay? You know what I mean? And just that weird sort of quick connection is, oh, they remember me from when I said, that I was having trouble with my girlfriend or that I went out to eat yesterday. Like that sort of thing goes miles to help your stream and your viewership. To not feel like numbers, but also feel like they're, on your mind. They're an important part of your show and your life.
It's also, it's been studied a lot, like even beyond the strongest communities, regardless of where they are, online or offline, are not built on shared interests. Like you could get a bunch of people into one room who all really love video games, and that's great, but they will not connect. They will not be mobilized. They will not be like, they will not become ravenous fans of a person just because they have the same interests. The strongest communities are built on shared beliefs.
Sure.
So those beliefs are emotional, right? Like sharing the things that you believe in during your stream is imperative to growth. And also, a lot of people don't think, or I it's not necessarily that they don't think about this, because I do think that this is something a lot of people have on the mind, but maybe it's just not a very like big conversation that's going on. But creators need and should be thinking about the emotions that they cause in the content, and it goes beyond just like, hey, here's a little fact about my life, haha, that was funny. It's there's so many different pillars of value that you could be adding, but mainly like, are you inspiring, are you motivating, are you educating, what are you doing, how are you creating an actual change in someone else's life, and how is that change giving them emotions to the point where they feel like you've actually changed their life, and they will keep coming back and hanging out with you forever because they know that you are going to be a positive influence on them and their living human being experience.
Sure.
You know, like
Yeah.
the emotions that we cause in people can turn them off to our content, or can bring them deeper into a relationship with us and really get them excited about spending time with us. And a lot of that happens, right, as a beliefs that you share. So literally saying things, which I've done multiple times during this conversation, I am a big believer in blank. I
Hmm.
truly believe that blank. Like that is something that is intentional, and it's become like natural for me now, but that is something that very intentionally, when I first started streaming again, I was like, I want to let these people know who I am and what I'm all about. Because if you don't tell people that, if they take forever to try and figure out what it is that you're into and what it is that you believe in, right? They're not going to spend a ton of time with you to figure that thing out. You want to help figure it out as quickly as you can. Like they
Sure.
should be
Yeah.
able to come into your stream, say, okay, I know what this place is all about. This is either for me or it's not. They need to be able to make that decision as quickly as possible. And if
Sure.
it's not for them, awesome. Go out to another place and find the space that is for you. But if it is for them, right? And if you have done such a good job of putting your values in some section on, you know, either that's on your profile or talking about them consistently during your stream and setting that atmosphere and setting that tone, people will align themselves behind you. They will get freaking maniacal. They will get like super passionate, and that is really where you start to see communities that just take over the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
The
fam, I see you.
um, I think that you might have answered this next question a little earlier, but I'm going to ask it anyways. In all the time you've been streaming in these 5 years, you know, maybe including the I think you said year and a half that you took off, what would you consider the biggest mistake that you've made in that time?
Oh my gosh. Oh, there's so many. I love failure. I know that's such a weird word, or
It
such a weird thing
it's
to say,
so
but
important, to be honest. It's
yeah,
so important.
it's massive,
Yeah.
right? There's no linear path to success. It doesn't happen. You fail over and over and over. I would say one of my biggest was probably streaming Dota for as long as I did, because I
Hmm.
streamed Dota. Oh Lord, like literally 3 years. Entire stream at the very beginning was streaming Dota, and I streamed it for years. And that community, as most major esports title game communities, their jam is they want to watch the game and they want to watch people who are good at it, and I never was that good at it.
Hmm.
And that's why you've got people that are like massive, like Ninja and Shroud, because they're really really great players.
Sure.
But I knew, I was like, I know if I stopped streaming Dota and I focused elsewhere that I would grow. But I was so stubborn, and I was like, no, I want to be a member of the Dota community. And I focused so much time and energy and attention there. And that's not to say that I didn't grow amazing relationships and meet incredible people because of that time that I spent there.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that I should have taken the responsibility of that growth instead of forcing it to happen in a directory where it obviously wasn't going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I should have realized, okay, what is a larger priority for me? Is it growing a community of amazing people that I can serve and love and give all of my energy towards? Or is it that I'm kind of selfish and I just want to be a known member of the Dota community?
Right, right.
Like that's the hard question that I should have asked myself, and I didn't. Mostly because I didn't have that knowledge. And so I streamed that for years and years and never got anywhere with it. And I think that it's okay at some point you what is working and what is not working in your channel. And if your goal is like you want to hit partner, well, hey, Fortnite probably isn't going to get you there. And it's okay to
Right.
say that. Like,
Yeah.
it's not to say you can never, ever in a million years stream it. There might be community nights, like 20% of your streams should really be geared towards just fostering relationships, right? And just sitting there and loving on the people that have come into your space. But the other, like 80% of the time, if growth is your thing, right? Like that's what you should be focused on. And that's not saying that you should just stream games for growth, but even if like they make you miserable, because you shouldn't, you should still be streaming things that make you happy, because people will pick up on that and they love passion and energy. But yeah, I think that was definitely one of the largest. And then other than that is just how many times I burned out and learning how to recognize that it was way earlier than I did, and learning what the symptoms are in me specifically, because they're different for everyone, and moderating that behavior.
Oh yeah, that's definitely one of probably, and I heard Bill said the same thing, but that's definitely one of his biggest lessons learned as well, and some other streamers I've talked to is trying to realize when not necessarily enough is enough, but hey, I need to cancel a show tonight. I got to take care of myself. You know, you hear it all the time. It's you got to take care of your self-care first before you can't really entertain anyone if you're dying on the stream.
Yeah, and I'm kind of to the point now where I'm like, less is honestly better.
Yeah,
like I think it's better to be consistently good. Who was it that said this? Be consistently good, not inconsistently bad. I just interviewed someone and they blew everyone's mind that was there. They were like, what? That's so good. Because I think scaling back in the day, I streamed, I think it was 6 days a week, and 5 of those streams I streamed 2 times a day. Scaling back and streaming 3 days a week has put me in a position now where I don't get, I'm always excited to stream, right? I'm always excited to get back to everyone and to say hi. I never need to take a day off. I don't feel like energetically drained because I take time, right? And that time is built into my schedule already. So I never have to kill my consistency because I'm streaming less, but I'm focusing on making those streams way more impactful and really valuable for people than just like, I'm a freaking zombie, but someone told me to be consistent, so I'm showing up, right? If you're hitting that level of like, oh, I just don't, guys, I got to take time off, and you're hitting that level consistently and routinely, like every single week or even if it's bi-weekly or bi-monthly or something, you need to scale back. Like you need to take a day off of stream, off of your schedule.
Sure. Yeah, we I've seen it a lot with some friends that just need to step away for a little bit and sort of figure out who they are. And sometimes they come back with a rebranding too. They're just not happy with where they've gotten somehow. Sometimes when you're streaming, you sort of go down these different paths where all of a sudden it's this is not what I started out to do. I don't know why I'm here. So which is actually another question. What is your feeling on rebranding?
I think it's amazing. I think if something isn't working for you, and figure it out. But you have to give it time, right? Sometimes things don't resonate right away, but you have to give it time and you have to really believe in the idea. I think fulfillment is a big part of this. Like if you're not truly enjoying it, and no one can answer this question for you other than yourself, you have to feel fulfillment from the thing that you're doing and the way that you're spending your time on Twitch, regardless of whatever brand it is that you've landed into now. You have to get personal excitement from it. It has to bring you energy, right? You want to be in the space where you start a stream and you're like maybe a little bit more relaxed before a stream, and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to be today. You start the stream and then you're like, oh yeah, this is what I'm all about. Let's go. And you have so much energy for it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I that's so one of the ways I mix up my show is doing different segments this, where it's not every day. And I know a lot of people get burnt out on just start up the show, load up World of Warcraft, and go for 8 hours. That could be probably pretty draining if you're not trying to mix that up at all. But
Yeah.
the there's but and it's some people have kind of combated that with doing like an IRL stream in the middle of their time, or when they're starting up. They'll start IRL or something, or just relax a little bit, talk to their community about what's happened that weekend or something that gets them in the mood to then switch into a game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, okay, let me see. Oh, another question, and this is a little bit random. The new Twitch layout as of yesterday. What are your thoughts on that? I see it friggin' everywhere.
Right. I have not been affected yet.
Okay.
So others might be a little bit more opinion. The thing that really bugs me about it, most of it I think is fine. I think it looks visually way better than the other one. It's way more simple, but I hate the left-hand sidebar, and I've said this in so many freaking videos. That left-hand sidebar is ugly as sin. It is so bad, okay? And I'm cranky that they put subscribe and follow, those two buttons, those two ways that people engage with your content aside from just the chat factor. They put that on the left-hand sidebar. So now they're forcing me to look at that ugly thing. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Oh my god, yeah, they are. I didn't even realize until I looked over.
What was the freaking point of adding like friends on Twitch?
Right.
First off, why does that exist? Also, why the heck are you putting like recommended streamers at the top of the bar that I have no control over?
Yeah,
and then you're telling me
yeah.
I need to go over there and I need to click subscribe and I need to click follow right there. That seems to me kind of crazy. Like, I can't control the information that is on that side, so that bugs. But other than that, like,
I've seen a lot of complaints about. I think they removed the communities on there. You can't see someone's communities. I do like that events are in there because I use the events on there quite a bit. But I do like that one part.
Right.
But so transitioning a little bit to the future. Today you hit your numbers again. This is a congratulations stream. What is the goal for the future now? Because just a few minutes ago we said partnership is another door to 50 other doors. You know that for sure. What is advice you would give yourself, maybe if you were coaching yourself in this position? You just hit this number. I assume that the application is soon to come. What's the next step if they say, you know what, I forget what the standard email is, you're going to be part of the premier community or whatever it is at the top? What is the next step for Ash?
So I actually have a plan. Okay. Like, I've sat down, and because of Zachary Diaz, I was like, I need to stick with the momentum. Like, when we get attention for when this happens, I'm sure that we are good to go and that I stick with it and I have stuff to do. So some things that I think people need to do literally immediately whenever either the application opens up, like, you kind of want to, I would say, set a plan for yourself. That's probably whenever I would develop the plan, is when the application actually opens up for you. Then you do the application, all right, you make the plan, and when that result comes in, if it's, you immediately. So that plan for me is, of course, like doing Discord partnership, looking into like Streamlabs All-Stars, looking at like all of these programs that are specifically for partners only. And then also a big thing for us, and a big thing that I've been talking about literally since we started a little bit over 2 months ago, is that I want a stream team. Like, I want the Yam fam. Like, that's the natural progression, right? Like, we've built this amazing community of people that are content creators. The natural progression is that we kind of take it a step further and we make it a little more professional and a little more serious. So what I want to do is I want a stream team manager, first off, because I'm not going to be able to do this all by myself. I want to create like the next like Team Sin Squad or the next like Team Kitty. Like, I want
Yeah.
to kind of combine the things that both of the things that I'm on have given me opportunities for and have helped me with, and I want to give that back to the people that really like believe and have been a part of this mission, right? And
Sure.
my big thing too is it's not going to be like numbers based. It's not based on that at all. It's based on your beliefs. So what do you truly believe? What do you truly feel as a creator? And if your beliefs are aligned with the like just Yam Fam overall beliefs, let's freaking do the thing, and let's have a bunch of people. Let's run charity streams together, right? Like let's do stuff together.
Yeah.
Let's go out to St. Jude together. Let's have IRL meetups. Let's there's literally a million things. We'll Fam podcast. We talked about that the other day. They want to start Tater Talk, which is a podcast that's just for our community. And
Yeah.
you know, I imagine it would be on other platforms as well, but probably the people that would be most interested in listening, people that are in our space. But that's a huge thing. As well as there are other things that I'm developing. One of them I've been developing for freaking months now, and I need to just like bite the bullet and just do the last little bit of work to get this out there. But there are a lot of things that I'm kind of doing in the future to take the coaching to the next level, because there's only so many people that me by myself on my own can help.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I have a finite amount of time. I got 24 hours, 7 days a week, and that's it. There's only so many people that I can reach. But there are a lot of people that need help. There are 3.4 million broadcasters. So how do we scale what I'm already doing in a way that isn't necessarily going to take up like a ton of my time and make me literally have zero me time, which I don't even have a ton now. But really, that's a massive thing that I'm working on right now. There are also ebooks and courses that I'm working on with one of the literally like number one female streamer. Like there's some big things that are coming out in the future for Yam Fam and for myself as an educator. And other than that, like I never want to accept where I am, right?
Yeah.
Like I always want to be reaching higher. I will
Sure.
always be that person who's like looking for the next experience, looking for the next thing that I can bring to the space that's unique, that's different. Of course, it still needs to fit within my branding, but like I will never I'm a freaking bull. I will never say, okay, we've hit partner, now we don't really have to, now we can just chill for like I'm going to the top. I'm pulling up all of these people that are coming along with. We're getting people affiliated. We're gonna get people. We're gonna grow everybody's community, and I'm gonna scale this and do this in a way that we can help hundreds and thousands of people accomplish their dreams. Because that is truly my mission. Is like helping people get their dream life.
Sure. And that actually that opens up the door to so many more really interesting questions. Because I've seen the same thing, and I totally agree with the mindset of, you know, you get to a certain point, you get to partnership or something, and so many people have helped you. Now I got to help other people that help me, you know, that are trying to that same goal. What you create a stream team. It's sort of something you have to protect in terms of branding, maybe. Does that come into it to where you say, listen, you guys have helped me a lot. Is there a time when you say you didn't meet the requirements to be on the stream team? And this is the person that's helped you for some X amount of time. Is that just a reality that now you have to deal with?
Right. I think there's definitely going to be like a lot of applications where we're just like, okay, the influx of applications is too much to where we can't really either keep up with it, or we can't accommodate literally like every streamer, right? Like I can't make a stream team for 3.4 million people. And I wouldn't. I don't want it to be a stream team that has like zero exclusivity factor. Like I still want there to kind of be some portion of that. So I don't want it to be like, this is the stream team for everybody.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right, there's already a space. So personally, I think that as long as the beliefs are there, and that person is truly invested,
Yeah.
that they'll deserve to be on it regardless of the numbers, right?
Sure.
If education matters to them, if they believe streamers of all sizes are valuable, if they believe that, you know, education, hustle, hard work, those are how you go after your dreams, being a good person, being empathetic, being an inclusive culture, like it's not going to be a team that we just accept everyone. If I hear, and there's going to be quality checks, right?
Sure.
If our people are like listening to your stream and they hear like racism or homophobia or
Exactly.
misogyny or ableism or that aren't generally tolerated in most good streams, like then that's going to be an automatic denial, like 100%. There's no room for that. I have zero tolerance for that. So you know, that's the idea, I guess, needs to be like a little bit more fully fleshed out. I don't have 100 answers as of right now, but that is absolutely something that I think will be taken into account, right?
Mm-hmm.
Along with like maybe we should have kind of entry level numbers. Like I know Team Kitty, they have like 1,000 followers in order to apply, so that's one of their requirements, and that kind of like
Okay.
that kind of separates the people who are just there, they've streamed twice and then they apply,
Sure.
versus someone who's like serious about streaming and they want to make it work. Like when you have 1,000, you know, when you've got that 1K, it's kind of like they're a little bit serious, right? Like they've been doing it for a while, and it could even be lower than that. Like that number can change, but it's definitely, I think, good to have some kind of barrier to entry, just like we've seen with the affiliate program, which is a little bit low.
Right. Yeah. You need tiers of YamFam now.
Yeah.
So with your let's say that again we've kicked down the door of partnership and we have all these different opportunities. Do you have all these things on deck, these plans? Where is stream coaching such an ingrained part of your stream and your culture and the community and how you got partnership that stays, or do you feel like that sort of starts to take a back seat and now we're doing all these other different type of things, leaving no room for the stream coaching, or like I said, that's just like the main component, so that's what we're doing even after partnership?
Yeah, my value is always going to be education.
Yeah.
And that may not always mean education on streaming, right? That could change. But at my core, the more I've kind of leaned into being a coach and being an educator for content creators, the more I've looked at my path. I'm like, that makes so much freaking sense for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like the most fun I ever had in all of the where I was positions and I was asked to train the new employee. That was like my number one thing to do. I love teaching. I love showing people how to do what I do. And so now that I do that for streaming as well, I'm like, oh, well, that makes so much freaking sense. I'm just a teacher. I just am. So I do think that education is always going to be part of my value for now and for foreseeable future. I don't see this changing from content creation / streaming, but it might, right? I'm not going to pigeonhole myself into the idea that I'm only going to be doing this one thing forever, because then I miss the relevancy train at some point.
Sure.
You know, like
yeah.
this isn't going to be useful, and at some point Twitch is going to be like, hey, guess what, guys? Here's literally everything you could know forever, and
right.
now I don't matter anymore almost. Or not that I don't matter, but it would be much, much harder to see some kind of growth once that relevancy train has left the station.
Sure.
But yeah, I do think like the future for me is that coaching in some way and shape or form will always be part of what I do. I think a big part of this is time management. I've kind of hit that level where like I'm almost full-time content creation. I'm kind of dipping my toes in right now. Like we can do it, but I know that like, the industry is fickle. I don't want to ever place the responsibility of me paying my bills on the YamFam. I would never want to do that. I never want to be the person that's like, I have to worry about bills, to put a goal for my bills up on the stream, or to put like, hey friends, I'm struggling to make the rent this month. Can you please tip me more? I never want to be a part of the stream because I've been there before. I had that kind of feeling, and it created a lot of negativity and toxicity just in my life and me towards other people that would come by the stream. I'd basically be like a little bit desperate for some kind of financial reimbursement, right?
Yeah.
And I don't ever want that to be the case. So I'm flirting with that idea right now of going full-time content. We're like good on that front. However, I want to make sure that the stream money stays the money for the stream, and it doesn't go towards my lifestyle, right? I don't
That's a
want
good
it to be
idea.
like
Yeah,
that.
budgeting separate.
Yeah, and I think beyond that, it's just like time blocking, it's time management, it's me making sure that I'm fulfilling all the things and still am growing financially, like my income as well, because that's, you know, that's freedom, right? That's you being
Sure.
able to free up your time so that I don't have to focus on the other job that I have that
Right.
helps pay the bills as well. But yeah, we're definitely, that's definitely a thing that's coming too.
I'm
And yeah,
excited.
it'll always be part of what we do. I think is just
Yeah.
coaching and bringing that education to people is honestly like my mission while I'm alive. Like educating people is what I'm here for.
Did I, because I know that the panel notifications went out and that they will be finished, I believe, in 3 days, if I'm not mistaken. Did you put in a panel for TwitchCon this year? Are you going to TwitchCon this year?
Yeah, I'm definitely going. Yeah, I put in. I got a decline on one of them, and I haven't heard back. And then I had like, I don't know. I think it was on like 8 other people that there were like 8 to 10 other people that reached out for me on their panel. Gotten an acceptance for a couple of them.
Okay.
Like there's one for anxiety gaming, and then there's one for what's the other? I can't remember. But there's a couple that have gotten an acceptance letter, and I haven't heard back about another one. But yeah, it's definitely so. I love panels; they're so fun.
Yeah, I think that Ichi is going to do something like an anxiety panel. I wonder if he's on that one. But he's a big anxiety and mental health proponent for Twitch. I think he's on one of those, and I think Glitchbot might be as well.
Oh yeah, they're on the one for this. I don't know if Ichi is, but I know Glitchbot's on the Take This one.
Yeah, that might be the one that.
Jessica
Yeah, I saw. Yeah.
else.
She announced something earlier, or I think they might have tagged her into a tweet announcing it. I think. So that'll be exciting. But so okay, that sounds amazing. I'm super excited about. I still can't believe that you got that notification or found that number out while you were on the show.
I know, that's crazy. And I love how we were muted too.
I know.
Like, I have so many feelings right now, and I can't share them.
Oh my God, turn me on. I got to tell someone.
Oh my God, please unmute me, God. Please.
Yeah. So the last portion is really just a Q&A. So if you guys have questions, feel free. I have a couple that I will start with. So on your stream coaching, which I think doubles as sort of like the Patreon or whatever, I think that's how it's done, from what I gathered. I noticed that you had a cap on the final level. It was like something out of 8 or 10 or something like that. That seems like a way, like when you were saying, like, I only have so many hours to do this stuff. That sort of reminded me of that number. And is that how you sort of gate what you're capable of even doing within a month? Because obviously you can't take interviews every hour of every day. There's some research involved in this. You have to go look at someone's stream, as you were saying earlier. You got to watch a VOD. You got to talk to them, read surveys or whatever it is. Is that like your gate? That's what you kind of see is the right number for you, basically.
Yeah. So it's definitely partially that, and partially me acknowledging the supply and demand, right? So if there's like a large demand for this kind of help, then I know that the supply of it is finite. Like you said, I'm a finite resource. Like,
you're only one person.
Hours. And so as that time becomes more and more limited, it becomes more and more valuable. And I need to be able to accommodate that. If I just set it at like, you know, like $50 forever, then that doesn't really change with me as I get better at coaching, as I grow my skills there, because that is a portion of the thought that goes into making a pricing model for something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also doesn't account for like how often I'm running meetings. So if my entire schedule fills up, say I'm like, as I'm growing this in the space and I'm growing, all that, as the growth comes in, say, we've got some massive numbers and I have a ton of experience with coaching. Well, that time and that hourly rate should look different
Sure.
than it did in the very beginning whenever I was just learning.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's basically me like accommodating that supply and demand, that skill generation and growth, as well as just being able to kind of control what I do and having some kind of control over my time, because there's only so many people that I can help in that way.
Right. And yeah, that's kind of what I figured it was. And I saw the other tiers also have gates on them too, but that's the same thing, right? You just need to be able to manage your time. I mean, time management is such a huge part of streaming that it's it's a skill that is pretty much required to get anywhere. The
I started at 50 an hour, because I was like, I don't know if this is going to be advice that people really need. I've done a few. I feel enough to kind of like advertise and put it out there, hey guys, and own up to that, and own up to like the positives and negatives that could come along with that. But as that desire for it has grown, like we bumped up from 50 to 100. When like the 50 and 100 are completely full and have been consistently, I'll probably bump it up to like 150.
Sure.
It really just, it depends on like what I feel is right, because I don't want to charge whatever just because I can, because I think that that's inauthentic and that's a little skeevy almost. Like I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like time gets more valuable as you get less and less of it. So it is a lot of work. Like it is a lot of work. And $100 is so. Fedora, here's the thing, is what I've noticed more and more is that it's not about the price tag. So there are many coaches who charge like $4,000 for an hour session. Do you really think that you're going to get like that massive amount of financial like investment, but return on that financial investment? Like that's crazy, right? That's crazy. But the reason that people do that, and the reason they can get away with charging those prices, is first, they have shown people that it's actually worth that amount. So if you think $100 is too expensive, it's not because of the number. It's because I haven't done a good job fully expressing to people how this is actually worth their $100. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to do a better job on expressing that to people. How can I do that? Well, there are plenty of things that I haven't implemented yet, like testimonials and examples of work, examples of case studies of people who have literally had their lives changed because they've worked with me. Like there's a lot of things that I could implement that I haven't yet. And so that's the problem that I'm facing right now, is there are some people who are like, $100 is too much, but it's not the number. It's because of what I've done to justify that amount.
Yeah.
So
I agree. And that becomes more about experience at some point too.
Right.
So one of the question from the chat, which is pretty good. What if you find a perfect passion on content, but it's so niche that you think you'll never get noticed, so no one is doing it, and you have no others who do it? Would you recommend just starting that revolution and being the light for that niche to make it easier for others, kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
If you're the first person to bring an entirely new market to Twitch, you're gonna explode. Like,
yeah, it'll be huge.
Will. At some point, like there are probably hobbies or interests that are in existence that shouldn't exist on Twitch and probably wouldn't transfer well into live content, but I think like there are passionate communities surrounding every single freaking hobby, because if one person is into it, we're not alone. No one is alone in their struggles. No one is alone in their interests. Okay. There are tons of people out there who love the exact same thing that you love. It's just a matter of being able to find them. And if you're the first person to create that experience for them, and you are creating live content about that thing, about that thing that you enjoy for that audience specifically, it will at some point resonate with them. You just have to get it in front of them.
There you go. Yeah, you're right. We did mention that a little bit earlier about being the first one to break that boundary. And when you're saying there's all kinds of streams out there, I don't know how popular bike streams are, but I have a friend and he's in some of our communities that streams riding his bike around town, just talking to the camera while he's riding, and there's a ton of people that watch him do that. And so there's always an audience. There's an audience for everything.
Right.
Look at
Yeah, absolutely.
We talked about affiliate tiers, which was like my number one question because I've been dying to ask that. I think I saw this one earlier. I don't know if I can scroll up or find it, but it was something along the lines of this, and whoever asked can clarify. If you get someone that comes to you and says, I need a coach, they pay the fee for whatever X coaching tier they'd like. And if, when we were talking a little bit about the mental health aspect, you come to a point where you say, I can't help you. There's no kind of advice. And by the way, this could be based on sort of some people are easier accepting criticism, or some people are way too defensive when they hear advice. Have you ever had to, or could you envision a time, I guess, or do you avoid working with them where you just have to like call off the session and be like, I can't help you either because of something that's wrong, that's outside of my domain, or because you are completely unresponsive to feedback and are kind of aggressive about it?
Right. I would say I haven't had that aggression yet. So here's the thing is whenever people put money behind something, they are more likely to create a positive outcome for themselves. So if you're doing like a bunch of coaching for free or a bunch of free help, people take that way less seriously than if they actually had some skin in the game about it, right? So that's a big reason to charge, even if you're like kind of introducing yourself to the idea of maybe I want to be maybe not a stream coach, but a life coach or some other kind of coach, because there's so many different styles of coaching that need to come to Twitch and haven't yet.
Sure.
But you charging something, right? Just something will 100% create a higher chance of that person causing and creating a good outcome for themselves based on the conversation that you all had. So they take it more seriously because they paid money. Now, so because of that reason, and just because of the people that are kind of in my space, because I haven't done a ton of advertising about this. Like I haven't advertised, haven't built things that have gotten a ton of traction. I don't have any yet. I don't have all the products yet that a lot of typical coaches do. So the only people that really like know me and really sign up for the coaching, people that are in my space and really believe in the things that I'm teaching. So they have found me through the podcast or the YouTube videos and streams, and they're like, yes, girl, I feel you. And I feel like we have this connection. I could actually learn from you on a deeper level. So let me take you up on that and throw down and let's do this.
Yeah.
So those people, Yam Fam is very, very amazing, very positive, very just, the people all around me are like just some of the most incredible, inspirational, hardworking people. And I've been very fortunate to where I haven't had who has been like unresponsive to trying to coach them at all. However, there are definitely people where we get to a point where I'm like, okay, we've talked about this, we've coached through this, we've coached through this, we've coached through this, and they've been on with me for months, and it will reach a point where I'm like, there's not really a ton we need. We don't really need to do anything. So if you want to like skip a month or 2 months or wait until you feel like we have something to talk about again, feel the thing.
Yeah.
And it's totally like, it's normal. You can't, I don't think that being someone's coach means that you have to meet with them every for now until they feel like they completely understand the concepts, right? It can be like you sign on for a month and then the next month you feel like you're good. You still want to implement the things that you learned from the last meeting, and that's I have noticed like a lot of my people do stay signed on because they just they beyond just wanting to learn, they want to support like me as a creator, which is like freaking crazy. You don't have to like cancel the thing. It's okay. It's okay. It's
Right.
okay. But yeah, it's definitely a conversation I've had to have, and I'm sure in the future we'll have to have as well.
So
We'll have to have as well.
so yeah, and what you described with that, hey, we could take a month off and then come back if there ends up being a problem or something, that sort of goes into almost like I'm not sure what to call it, like a spot cleaning. You know what I mean? Like I'm thinking about getting some new assets. What do you think about that? Is that a type of service where it's like a quick hitter? Something you just want your opinion on or your take on it, they've already commissioned this thing, or like you were saying, a quick, hey, I got good viewership on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. My Sundays suck though. Can you give me some quick advice on that? Do you ever get those like really targeted question, maybe a quick answer after a quick statistical analysis, but more like a spot clean type deal?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I do that during the streams all the time. I get DMs all the time for help. If it's like super easy question, like, hey, this person has been saying all these really uncomfortable things and really flirting with me, and they're my manager, right? But they're using their position as my manager to get really flirty and to get flirty with other people in my community, and I feel like this is wrong. What should I do?
Yeah.
Then I can definitely, that's me saying, based on my own experience, what would I do in that situation? And I can give that answer easily. But if someone's like, man, Ashley, I'm struggling right now. Like, I don't know what's going wrong. I've been trying this thing and it's not working. Like, how do I grow on Twitch? That's like, my answer for that question is, okay, we need to have a coaching session, because it goes so much deeper than just what are you streaming? Do you have a schedule and everything else, right? There's so much that goes into this.
True.
It takes a longer conversation. But yeah, I definitely do. And that's the thing too, is like my free work will always be free. The podcast will always be free. The YouTube videos will always be free. What I do streams will always be free. I mean, it might have to change a little bit at some point, depending on the growth and how many people are in chat. But still, like, I do a lot of stuff because there are people who they can learn just by watching a YouTube video, and they can implement it in their stuff, and awesome, great. Sure. But if you're not that person, right, or if you need some additional help, if you need a conversation, if you need to be guided to understanding these concepts, then a coaching session is right in that situation. Maybe you don't want to work one-on-one with me, and maybe you would rather get your help through like an ebook. Maybe sitting down and just reading through like really in-depth and stuff would be helpful, or maybe having like an online course would be the best version for you. Yeah. People learn in different ways, and I want to make sure that I'm accommodating as many of them as I can be.
That's a good idea. We have answered so many amazing questions today. I've learned so much just from talking to you. So I guess I will see you at TwitchCon.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm excited, and I hope to meet several other people there, but that'll be really exciting. We can continue this conversation there. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I could not be more excited to hear the numbers thing as soon as we started. What a good way to start the show after some ridiculous technical difficulties. Thank you a billion times for coming and talking to us. I hope to see some good news soon after the application goes in.
Yay! I'm so hyped.
That'll be awesome.
I can't believe it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate being on the show and getting to know you more. It's been a joy and a pleasure, right?
I agree. It's nice to know me. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will talk to you in just a minute. I'm going to go to a quick break. I'll come back and we'll sort of do a post show and then get into our usual show. Thank you so much. You guys stick around. Ash, I've said thank you 1,000 times in the last 2 minutes. Still thank you. I'll talk to you in a minute over text. The rest of you guys, just hold tight. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Oh, what am I doing?